How do you plan to address the unique transportation and infrastructure challenges faced by the mountain communities of Crestline, Lake Arrowhead, and Big Bear?
This makes a lot of sense to me, and it's something that really is in the remit of the county supervisor. So it's something that I have a lot of sympathy with as a mountain resident. So for anyone
maybe we should start by explaining that you actually are from the mountains.
I am full-time in the mountains. So for anyone who doesn't know, I live in Sky Forest, which is right outside of Lake Arrowhead, so about 40 minutes down the road. And we face very similar challenges to what you face in Big Bear in terms of infrastructure, road maintenance, all the stuff that makes day-to-day life in the mountains both incredible and also really challenging at points. So, we almost threw our alignment out on our car a couple times driving over here, over the potholes on the 18.
Potholes are rough.
They're really bad. Yeah. They're really bad.
Even on these main streets, like just today, I was just driving around the city and my right tire, I couldn't even be in a certain lane. I had to get to the left lane because the right lane is shot.
On Big Bear Boulevard even, it's a disaster right now. So the thing that the county can do, and I think can be doing a better job of, is I think about this in two different levels, right? Because you have the roads and the infrastructure that the county is directly responsible for, and then you have some of the highways that Caltrans in the state of California is responsible for. Okay. So with roads that the county maintains, I think we need to be doing a better job of maintaining our mountain roads, our rural roads a bit more regularly, because especially in winter, it does feel like we need perhaps an interim pothole repair, just because, you guys, especially in Big Bear, you get even more tourist traffic than we get in Lake Arrowhead. There have been a couple times where we've sat in the car for 2.5 hours just coming from Lake Arrowhead to Big Bear because the traffic from down the mountain is so intense. Terrible, yeah. So because there's so much traffic, I think we need more regular infrastructure maintenance here.
That's right.
Then the thing that I would like to see the county do a better job of is work more closely with agencies like Caltrans, because one of my frustrations with the county, and something that if people have followed the campaign, perhaps online, they might have heard me talk about before, is one thing I've seen our county do is pass the buck a lot. If it's something that's not directly responsible, they'll say, that's a state of California thing, that's a Caltrans thing, go talk to them. My point is, as individual residents, we don't have a whole lot of power with an agency like Caltrans. Right. But as a county, can the county put a bit more pressure and try to work together with an agency like Caltrans to get our roads fixed a bit more quickly? Yes. And that's what I want to do.
So what strategies will you implement to ensure reliable emergency services in these often hard to reach areas, especially during severe weather conditions?
So there are a few aspects to this question. So one thing you're going to hear me talk about a lot, and is going to be a recurring theme, I'm assuming both in terms of the things we're talking about today and also in terms of my whole campaign, is we need to be doing a better job with resource allocation as the county. And I know that sounds really, really boring, but it's really, really important, because ultimately this all comes down to money. Yeah. Right? Our county has a $10 billion annual budget, and I have a business and a finance background. I spend a lot of time reviewing our county budget, and there are a lot of red flags and a lot of areas of waste. So the thing that I will always come back to with almost everything related to the county is, if we can cut the waste in some areas, we have more money to spend on essential services like disaster prep, emergency response. So one is making sure these agencies are well funded. And the second is making sure we have these services prioritized in the right place. So if I think about the response to Snowmageddon last year, there have been plenty of reports written about the failures in various departments. A couple things that come out of that. One is just poor communication, both within the county and with residents. A huge part of the reason I got involved last winter is just because we weren't hearing anything about what was coming, what was happening. So we need to improve our communication, and we need to make sure we have resources in the right places. So again, something that came out of these reports is a lot of the resources were deployed toward keeping the freeways open instead of being in residential neighborhoods. And I get that commerce is important, and we need to make sure main arteries are open, but when people are starving to death, freezing to death, when houses are exploding, we need to make sure we have people on the ground in neighborhoods who can come to people's rescue.
Next question from a Big Bear TV viewer is, how do you propose to support and promote local businesses in the mountain communities, considering that we have the seasonal fluctuation of tourism?
So I think for me, it's beyond just seasonal fluctuations in tourism. It's making sure that we have a small business framework that makes sense for both mountain and rural communities across the district.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a local mountain resident, and I know how hard it is to open a small business in our mountain communities. We have tried to do it personally. We've got a lot of friends, a lot of family who have both successfully opened businesses and really struggle to open small businesses because of all the county's red tape. We have friends of ours who've been trying for years to open a 15-person tavern just on the 18. They've been trying for 3 years. They've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they are still not through the county approval process. Oh my God. We live up a mountain here, right? And we have really specific geography, and a lot of the county's building codes and restrictions are heavily geared toward life in cities.
Right.
And certainly on our side of the mountain, where we're not in a valley, it's all twisty mountain roads. We really struggle with parking. So a lot of times what the county will say is you need more parking than you can physically put in a space.
Yeah, in a mountain.
Yeah, and what we found is if you're the squeaky wheel, there's a pizza place just off the 18 where the owner of that business went to the county. I want to say it was every day for like 3 months and said, okay, can we finally get parking approved because otherwise I can't open my business? And they made an exception. And I think we should make those exceptions a bit easier to make and a bit more the rule. It shouldn't take you going down to the county every day for 3 to 6 months to try to get a business open.
Right.
So one of my big picture priorities here is looking at ways at creating specific overlays for the building code for mountain communities, for desert communities, where we have really specific geographical concerns to make opening business a little bit easier. Because right now it's way too hard.
So much red tape.
Yeah, well, and then the other thing, not even just dealing with geography, is again we were just talking to the owner of the hotel we're sitting in here today, saying you talk to one county department, they say put in this water heater, then you talk to another county department, and they say, oh, that's not enough, you got to put in another one. The lack of communication and coordination within the county is causing business owners so much stress here,
right.
And that needs to stop.
Yeah, we can't afford to be losing businesses here. Businesses close on the regular.
Well, exactly. And touching on the tourist point, I mean, I think the other thing we got to realize is most of District 3 is, well, most of the tourist economies in San Bernardino County are all in District 3, right? So if anyone doesn't know what the boundaries are of District 3, it starts at Redlands, Highland, Loma Linda, southwest corner, cuts up to Barstow, and then goes all the way to the Nevada-Arizona border. So it's all of our mountain communities, a lot of our desert tourist communities, so a lot of the tourism in San Bernardino is here.
Right.
And we need to make sure that we've got a framework that actually lets small business open, because what drives tourism? Small business.
Business, right.
Right?
Yeah, they want their services when they come up here, especially tourists. We've got some animal lovers here who want to know, given the pressing issues of animal euthanasia in our shelters, I think just 4,000 animals were put to sleep this week. What specific strategies do you propose to implement to put an end to this practice in San Bernardino County? And would you ensure these strategies are effectively executed? I guess we're talking more about up here.
Yeah, and look, this is full disclosure. This isn't a specific topic I know too much about. I can tell you where I come at this personally. I mean, I am an animal lover. We have a dog who is our child that we love pretty much like a human. And the fact that we have any kill shelters in this county and in this country, I find really distressing. So again, coming back to that point I made before, one thing that we can do as a county is making sure that our animal shelters are well funded, have the resources they need, both to house the animals and to find forever homes for all the animals that are in our shelters.
Yeah, and access to affordable spay and neutering services is crucial to controlling pet populations.
Absolutely. Because sometimes sometimes that is extortionately expensive, and it's really hard to find at an affordable rate. And actually, this is something I've got a little bit of experience with through living abroad I lived in London for 12 years and spent a lot of my time traveling around Europe, and you go to other countries and you go to the vet in France for instance, and it's like 15% of the cost of a lot of services here. Yeah. So if we can find ways for the government to help support, at least subsidize some of the costs for some of those procedures, make adopting a dog or a cat a bit more easy financially, then we can promote more pet pet ownership.
Yeah, because your background is in business and like large amounts of money. Tell a little bit about your business background.
Yeah, okay, so just
and how that pertains to what you're running for here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know it's going to sound a little bit boring, but my professional career was spent raising and investing money. And what that meant was I would go out to big institutions. So, maybe some of your viewers either have a public pension fund from our very own SB Sarah or LA Sarah or CalPERS. My job was to go to institutions like that, raise money, put it in a company fund of money, and then figure out how to allocate that money across a bunch of different companies. And the reason I think that's really important here is in my professional career, I raised and invested about $10 billion. So our county budget happens to be $10 billion as well. And my professional specialty is figuring out, okay, what is the waste in this budget? Where can we effectively cut back and redeploy to other areas to make services better for people? So as a for instance, this just came about last night, and I posted a piece of content about it today. The Board of Supervisors just approved what in essence is a 50% increase to the budget for the Registrar of Voters, which means they were 50% off in their budgeting last year. It's another $11 million of spend they just approved yesterday. And my point is, anyone in a real professional context would probably lose their job if they were off by 50% in terms of their annual budget. So why has this come up so late in the day? What is this $11 million for? If that $11 million got spent on animal shelters, on road repair, that would mean a real improvement for people in other areas. So that's the specialty that I can really bring to this role, and I think we really need on the board.